Here we are. Some technical difficulties. Sunshine, do my cruise. I do a Manhattan times two for Tuesday. Got two versions of a Manhattan. But before we do that, I'm near the end of this. So I want to have a little bit of it neat here. So I got about an ounce and a half left. So I want to pour it all in there. This is a Hochatown distilling. It's 100 proof. Small batch bourbon, aged in new American oak barrels, new charred American oak barrels, I should say, aged not less than 3 years. So it is a young whiskey. Hochatown Distilling Company was formed in the heart of southeast Oklahoma. This is out of Broken Bow, Oklahoma. So let me show you that bottle there, get it where you can see it. All right, pour it into my snifter here. Wanted to have just a little bit of it neat before I grab the Manhattan. I'm going to do the same thing with the other whiskey. It's always good to know what your base is, right? Some folks will tell you, why are you using good whiskey for a cocktail? And my response is always, your cocktail is only as good as the ingredients you put in it. So would I want to use seriously expensive whiskey? No, but I'm certainly not going bottom shelf either. And the better product that I use, the better the cocktail is going to be. This is a Manhattan. It is a whiskey or booze forward cocktail. So you're going to taste it. So you want to use a quality product, and that also goes for the vermouth. A lot of folks will use good whiskey but cheap out on the vermouth. You got to use a quality vermouth as well. But I did something different with this particular one, and I'll show you when I bring it out here. I went different on the bitters, the different bitters that I've used for a Manhattan. And I thought I had them right here, but I don't see them. Where did I put them, by golly? Oh, I left them over there. I'll grab it when I grab my drink. So this is a very nice young bourbon. I am a fan of products like this. I prefer to buy small whenever possible. I just don't buy into the hype, right? There are those whiskey guys, and they're usually guys that are overpriced and stuff on the secondary market that say you have to have specific whiskeys. And the truth is, no, you don't. You don't need any of those whiskeys they're telling you have to have. They're telling you have to have those because they want to charge you too much to pick them up. Some of them may not be available in your market readily, and they know that. So they're ready to sell it to you at three, four, five, sometimes even more times the cost. They are leeches on our society. That they are screwing up everything for everybody. Every time you buy on the secondary market, you create a market that actually should not exist. There are so many great products readily available that there is no way you should ever need anything on a secondary market. Because there are so many small distillery products that are getting overlooked by these big guys, these secondary markets. Uh, Leeches, they've picked up these products, and a lot of them, some of them may have even gotten for free to overcharge you for them. But again, for me, there are so many great products out there. There's so many great small distilleries. I guarantee wherever you live, you've got a handful of them. Not all that far from you. I've got one here right in my city at Tiakida. They're doing some fine products. There's a handful in the Kansas City area. There's a few more in the St. Louis area. And then there's a handful more scattered in between the states. Now, I haven't been to them all because there's just too many. But everything I have had has been very good. It usually becomes more of a matter of taste than quality. I love buying the small products because I feel it's a better quality. Anything, it's funny to me that craft beer drinkers will say this, that it's buy the small guys, not the big guys. But when it comes to whiskey, they change their mind, and it is absolutely the same purpose, man. If you're buying small for beer, it doesn't make sense to buy big for whiskey. Grab those small distillers, man. They're making great products, and those other folks don't want you to know that because they want to overcharge you for crap you don't need. Anyway, I digress. I've irritated more than one local whiskey group by saying such things because you have several members profiting on the secondary market, and their whole intention is to rip people off. If you're intended to sell something for more than you paid for it, well, you're a pariah, man. You are everything that's wrong with the movement, with folks that love good whiskey, good products. All right, that's it for that soapbox for now. I'm going to grab my. That's it for now. I'm not saying I won't go back to it. I'll be right back with the first Manhattan. All right. So what I did, I forgot to grab it. Darn it. So I was going to grab it. So what I did different with this particular Manhattan is I used root beer bitter. Now I've used these before, but it's the first time I've used it in a Manhattan. Now you can imagine what's in here. I'm going to tell you the obvious: alcohol and water, but sarsaparilla, sarsaparilla root, spices, sugar, molasses, and vanilla bean. Everything you would expect in root beer bitter. So I used the Ho Chi Town whiskey, root beer bitters, a little bit of sweet vermouth. I do tend to use less sweet vermouth than most places do. I like about a half ounce, but most will put a full ounce in there. Oh yeah, I was curious what the herbal root beer bitters would do to this, as opposed to your traditional Angostura. Lately, I've been getting away from the traditional Angostura and using others, cherry, orange, all kinds of things, depending on the flavor profile I was looking for out of that Manhattan. But I really like what the root beer does here. Oh man, that's gorgeous. Big herbal notes, as you might expect from adding the root beer bitters, but it does also elevate this particular whiskey. That's why I wanted to have some neat and taste the base first. And I'll do the same thing with my second product as well. Oh man, that's a nice Manhattan. And I've said this in a couple other videos. The best Manhattans I've ever had out was one in Kansas City at Tomstown. They made an incredible Manhattan out there. It was just beautiful. The other two I've had were both at the Moonrise Hotel on the Del Mar Loop in St. Louis. I had a month old and a year old Manhattan, and they were insane. Although I don't remember what the base whiskey was there at the Moonrise. At Thomastown, it was their Pendergast Royal Gold whiskey, but I can't remember what the Moonrise was using now. To be honest with you, it was a while back. It was back in 2015. Damn near a decade ago now, man. That's a long time ago, man. It was a ways back, man. I can't be expected to remember that. Oh, it was a while ago, man. Of course, you've got to have that dark cherry in the bottom. If you want to buy the Luxardo or the Marasca, hey man, there's nothing wrong with that. Those are cherries that belong in Manhattan. However, there are some slightly less expensive options out there that still give you that big dark cherry. That's not that bright red cherry. Never put a bright red cherry in a Manhattan, but there are some less expensive options. Collins, for instance, that does. I think they run about $10 or so. These the Amarenas I got in here, I think run about 12. But if you want to show off, of course, buy those others. I won't tell you I've never bought them. Of course, I have. But yeah, if I can find a less expensive option that does the same job, tastes the same, of course, I'm going to use that. It just makes good sense. Just never put that bright red cherry in a Manhattan, ever, ever, ever. No, I've told you the story before, but several years ago there was a TV show and one of the main characters owned a bar, and supposedly he was famous for his Manhattan. And he serves this Manhattan, and he's got that bright red cherry in the bottom. Nobody famous for a Manhattan would ever put a cherry like that in the glass, man. And I know they had to have consultants for the show because it was about a PI and all kinds of stuff. So I know they probably had various consultants. Why couldn't they have somebody that used to be a bartender if they're saying, no, don't do that, man? Hire the right consultants. That's all I'm saying. If you want to get your bar scene right, get a freaking consultant in there. Hire somebody. I'm sure grab the bartender from the hotel you sacked at last night. There's got to be somebody near that set that knows how to make a Manhattan, man. Never use that bright word. People in Hollywood ought to know better, damn it. Anyway, I digress. Every time I see that on TV show, I go, "Oh God." It'd be like a doctor watching a medical show picking out the mistakes, right? Oh, why didn't they do this? I'm always watching the bar scenes going, holy crap, what the fuck are they doing? You don't put that in that glass. That's not how you make a Manhattan. You got to be kidding me. This is freaking amateur hour. What are these people doing? Anyway, just lose all credibility, man. The show just loses all credibility. If you can't make a drink right, how can I trust the rest of the plot line of sound? Anyway, I digress. You can't tell them if they can't make a good drink. You can't trust anything about that show anymore. It didn't run a full season, I don't think. It was an interesting premise, and I kind of liked the show. But boy, when they did that scene, I went, "That's it, I'm done, I'm out." I can't believe anything. It's all I can think. For the rest of every episode I watched, you can't make a Manhattan. I just did. You own a bar. You're supposed to be this famous bartender, and you can't make a freaking Manhattan. I'm done with you. The character had no more credibility. I couldn't believe a word he said from there on. You can't be famous. You can't be world famous for a Manhattan if you're going to drop that bright red cherry in a Manhattan glass. Shit, biscuits, man. Anyway, I digress. I digress. Oh mercy! Two for Tuesday on a day off, so I thought I'd go with two Manhattans. I kind of just did this one spur of the moment, to be honest with you. So I didn't have time to really promote it out there. I just said, oh, let's just do this. So I got them ready. Decided to just go live and this Manhattan Spectacular. This whiskey's great. I'm sad to see it go, but it was awesome. As I said before, I'm kind of working through some stuff. This one gone, and I'm down to just a couple left, man. We're getting low, man. We're getting very, very low. We're getting dangerously low on product. So I've got one, two, three left now. Three open left, one left to open. Gonna try to time it just right. By the time I go on vacation, it'll be pretty close to empty on all fronts. Started my drink there. Yeah, this one was the closest, so I thought I'd finish it up first, and I'll show you the next one when I bring out that cocktail. Finish this one up here, and then I'll show you what's next here. And I didn't want to leave that little bit of Hochtown in. That's why I decided to pour it neat. That way I could taste the base product. I don't typically order cocktails out, especially in town here, because I'm rather picky. And 2020 kind of ruined me. When 2020 hit, we all were day drinking. I just became. I focused right in on getting the perfect old fashioned and getting the perfect Manhattan. And now when I go out, now I know you're not going to make it like I want it. But my caveat to that is vacation, because you've got a different mindset when you're on vacation, right? Or you should anyway. You're relaxed. It's vacation money. It's the money that you're planning to spend. So the cocktail's going to cost you a little more, but you're going to do it anyway because it's how you're on vacation, man. You're relaxed. Everything, you're tipping better than usual. You're on vacation. It's vacation money. You save for that. You plan to spend every last penny. So relax, enjoy the vacation, man. Anyway, that's what I try to adopt that mindset, right? Okay, going on vacation. This is exactly how much I've had to spend for this many days. I kind of got a budget set out, but because if you're going to be gone a week, you don't want to be broke by day three. So you got to kind of spread it. Okay, I can do this much, but relax when you do the things. Buy the lobster. Get the béarnaise sauce. Get the au pois sauce. Pay for those little extras. You're on vacation. Have the thermidor. You wouldn't normally, but you're on vacation. Do it. Mercy. Yeah, always get the au pois sauce. Always. Everything's better with an au pois sauce, man. Boy, we had a guy here way back when. He was a chef for everybody, I suppose, at one point, but he was known for being a member of American Legion Post 639 here, Clark Pike. And the first time we went there and had dinner, it was amazingly inexpensive for what we ate. Had the steak au pois, and I believe it was the first time I'd really had an au pois sauce. And oh my god! A few weeks later, I brought a friend. I said, "You got to try this." And he looked at this. I don't know, Tom, but he ordered the sauce, and he talked about that sauce every day. Oh man, that sauce is amazing. You got to have this sauce, man. Au pois sauce was something. Clark Pike, man. Kind of quit going there when all my friends died, though. All my friends passed away. There was no real reason to go back again. And unfortunately, VFWs, like American Legion posts, are known for a lot of inside politics, right? A lot of backstabbing, and at some point, you just say, "I'm going to have that." When my last friend, when my last real friend died, that's it. I'm not ever going back there. They're just assholes left there now. There's no reason for me to go. They've chased away all the good people. That happens in a lot of those private clubs. I saw it growing up in American Legion with my dad. They'd 86 my dad, and then they'd need him for something, so they'd beg him to come back, and then he'd do what they asked him to do, and then they'd find a way to 86 him again. But dad kept going back. If they needed him, they'd always have a reason. The proceeds are going to this youth group or that youth group, so dad would do it. And not long after, they'd kick him out again. The powers that be. A lot of little infighting going on there. All right, so let me show you what I'm having with that second Manhattan. I looked to see if there was another name for it than a Manhattan, because I'm using Irish whiskey. So I looked to see if there was a name for an Irish whiskey Manhattan, and there really isn't, other than an Irish whiskey Manhattan. I thought they might have something clever, because we're just changing the whiskey here now, but they still refer to it as a Manhattan. So I'm going to pour 1 ounce in there, so again I can taste the base product. Now this is the Turconnell single malt Irish whiskey. This is a 10-year-old. That's port cask finish. One reason I wanted to try this as a Manhattan, and what I did different with this one than an Irish whiskey, is I decided to use cherry bitters to bring out the fruit notes of that port cask finish whiskey. So let's try a little bit of that base first, and we'll bring out that cocktail. Man, that was a good whiskey. Boy, I do love single malt Irish. I do prefer single malt Irish to single malt Scotch. I do. I'm not a huge fan of that peat, that big peat. And Irish whiskey is kind of known as that smooth, sweeter one. God, this whiskey is amazing. And this is another one that I bought back in January. I bought this one bought this one in Tulsa. My wife and I were there January 1st and 2nd. Oh man. All right, so I'm going to set this off to the side. Just want to get a good taste of that there. And I'm going to bring out that cocktail. I'll be right back. All right, here we go. Now, typically, in all honesty, I don't usually make a Manhattan or an old fashioned, for that matter, with a less than 90 proof product. And this one is 80, but no, I'm sorry, this one is 92 proof. Never mind. I was thinking it was 80 proof. Now this one's 92 proof. So forget what I was going to say. when I went, I like to do a Manhattan with a minimum of 90 proof. This one's at 90. For some reason, I was thinking it was 80 proof, but never mind. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's just a fine whiskey. Again, I mean, Yes, a whiskey like this, a single malt whiskey, 10-year-old, should be treated with the utmost respect and drink need. However, well, yeah, however, it works beautiful in this capacity. Would I mix soda pop? Would I do something crazy with that? No, but when I'm having a whiskey forward cocktail like this, where I'm going to taste the product, that's what your good product is for. My only caveat, see, I don't make fun of people. Well, I try not to. If you want to do whatever you want to do with your whiskey, hey man, it's your whiskey. You bought it. But my caveat to that is, if somebody hands you a specific whiskey, if you're at somebody's house or a friend brings a bottle to an occasion, but he's offering to you a specific way, you drink it that way, or you decline. You don't look at that fine 10-year-old single malt. Okay, I'm just gonna. You mind if I put a little 7 Up in there? No, don't do that. Just decline the whiskey. If you don't have the palate to accept a great product, just say no, man. Just say no. I don't have a good palate, and I'm not gonna. I'm gonna want to put something silly in that whiskey. I can't have it. They offer it to you neat. Drink it neat, or don't drink it at all, man. Don't be a Peckerwood. Had that happen to me once, and boy, whoo, offered somebody some good Irish whiskey, and they wanted to put something in it. That's it. I'm out. Me and that guy never became friends, man. Anyway, some things you just can't overlook, man. If you're going, oh no, hell no, we are not gonna get along. Doesn't always have to be about politics. There can be other things very meaningful that will make that decision why you cannot be friends with somebody. As we enter the season. Yeah, I've enjoyed watching the Olympics, and now that it's over, I'm back to other things. But boy, I really look forward to them every 2 years, because in 2 years we'll have the Winter Games. The USA had a great run, man. I guess we're tied for China with the most golds and had most silver and bronze. I think there was a total of 126 medals, something like that. We were kicking ass. But even the ones that we did win, I loved a lot of the human stories that went with them. There was a lot of great stories involved. Sometimes it doesn't matter what country wins the gold. The great thing about the Olympics for me is that everybody comes together. That we look at all the diversity, especially for those that want to limit the diversity we have here in the USA. They'd like to limit that. You looked at that Olympic team from every sports, man, we've got a rather diverse team. And then you look at the rest of the world, how everybody comes together, and the level of sportsmanship that you saw. I watch certain events, and everybody would come together and shake hands or hug, no matter who won the event. There was just the sportsmanship seemed to be next level, even more so this year than in years past to me. And I don't think that gets talked about enough. I think that winning at all costs attitude is what's really hurt us as a country. That it's okay to cheat if you win, and it's not okay to cheat. It's not okay to declare victory when you've clearly lost. That shouldn't be who we are. And we need to make sure that's not what we become. Throwing a fit, stomping your feet, or whatever, claiming something was rigged when you lose. No, that's not okay. That bully mentality has never been okay. It's never been okay in the schoolyard, and it shouldn't be okay in our politics today. We shouldn't be accepting of such bad behavior. But I love the level of sportsmanship. Again, I've seen it in years past, but it seemed to be just amazing. When I was watching, especially those track and field races, when whoever won, the others would come over and just kind of congratulate everybody along. It was just nice to see that level, because I imagine these folks see each other often throughout the competitive season, and now here they are at the big event, right? The event for them that happens once every 4 years. Hey, Vanessa, how are you? I'll post your comment. Hi there. But I did really enjoy watching them. I'm usually okay when it's done, though. Something okay. I've seen everything I wanted to see. I didn't watch every event, but I watched most of them. I caught most of what I wanted to see. But yes, my favorite are the track and field events, and there were a few events that really stood out this year. And there were a lot of touching moments and stories. Of course, our women's gymnastics team won gold, and that was great, especially to see, Simone Biles conquer her demons and be back. We as a country need to quit treating mental illness as a pariah, and I mean it's something that needs to be looked into. We need to, if somebody's able to take care of themselves and get their lives back in order. Well, I mean, if she had broken a bone, we would say, oh, she's got to take a rest. But her injuries we couldn't see, so a lot of folks were unduly harsh to her. It was wrong, and she got the help she needed. And look what happened this year. Americans are typically not great with things they don't understand. If they don't understand something, then they usually don't even try to understand. Rather say, okay, I don't get what's going on with her, but let me do some research and find out. Let me look into this, that, or the other. But no, people just want to be mean for the sake of being mean. Uh, all right, it was as we wrap up. Manhattan number two. Yeah, oddly enough, the Turcano Irish whiskey, the port cast really works well in a Manhattan, as you might expect with those big extra fruit notes. And again with my first one, I really did enjoy adding the root beer bitters because it added those herbal and botanical notes to it that really took it up. However, the reason it worked, in my opinion, is because I used a big whiskey. I used a big 100 proof whiskey that could stand up to that extra bit. Right, I wouldn't use I don't think I'd even use a 90 proof because it may not be enough. I certainly wouldn't use a wheated bourbon. In my opinion, wheated bourbons are great, but I don't like them in an old fashioned, and I don't like them in yeah, you're right, Vanessa. I agree. That's what I was saying earlier. Just I don't like wheated bourbons in old fashioned or Manhattan because I think it makes the drinks too sweet, especially an old fashioned, which was already a sweet drink. We're putting a sweeter bourbon. That's why you need a tradition. If you're using a bourbon and not a rye, you've got to use a traditional bourbon that uses rye as a secondary to balance that sugar cube or the simple syrup or whatever you're using in that old fashioned. But I do feel the same way about a Manhattan. I think a Manhattan is fine with bourbon, although some will say you should use rye. But again, it should be that traditional that uses rye as a secondary. Now here I'm using an Irish whiskey, which changes the game completely because this is 100% malted barley. And wow, this cocktail is just insanely good. So there you go. Anyway, I digress. I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker. Purveyor wisdom and all around good guy, Salacia.